Hello. Music is too loud. It is no longer too loud. Perfect. Hello. Hello everyone, how you doing? How you doing? Hello M0. Hi Miguel. Greetings from Venice. Ooh, very nice, very nice. I hope you enjoy your holiday. Hello Guns. Hi. Hi Hogan. And hello Something Stochastic. Hello Husbando. Hi everyone. Hello. How you doing? How you doing? I'm going to take a minute to become like my normal energetic enthusiastic self because I'm very tired because I've been grading and my brain, it becomes spaghetti. Yes. I don't know where I am anymore. Hi Commodore, hi. Thank you for the hydrate. I will hydrate. I'll have some tea. I've got tea. Today I have chamomile tea. Very exciting. And I also have water. Yes, I've got the dual hydrate today. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. How do I turn that mode on? Which one? The Genki one or the quiet one? Both have their benefits and weaknesses. The Genki one, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to turn it on. I'm not sure anymore. Ah, yes, that reminds me. I'm silly. Right. I've been complaining for literally like weeks. Oh, I'm so tired. And I was like, oh, it must just be like stress, right? You know, because I'm getting to the end of my PhD. That's quite stressful. And then I'm also like very close to, not very close, that's not the right word. I've got lots of paperwork to do to get it sorted and I need to finish writing. And I've also got work. I've got work stuff. That's quite stressful. And I'm like, oh, I must just be very tired because of all of that. And also, to be honest, I'm just not taking very good care of myself. Exercise, never heard of her. And then I went to have a meeting. This shows how functional I am. I went to have a doctor's appointment and I was like, for something else. And I mentioned in passing, I'm very tired. And my doctor was like, I see. And then asked me questions. Mostly it was like, are you depressed? And I was like, no, I'm not depressed. And then they were like, are you sure though? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. And then they were like, are you sure though? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. And yeah, it turns out I've got anemia, so that's why I was tired. So that makes sense. It all makes sense now. Dr. Derry, Professor Psy. I'm not going to be Professor Doctor though. I am going to be Dr. Derry, which is very exciting. Very exciting. I'm not going to change anything though. I'm going to change my bank card. That's it. Like, I don't think there's anything else I need to change anyway. I'm not sure what even has my title on it. I'm not sure. I still haven't changed some, like I keep forgetting I still haven't changed some of them from like getting married. I keep discovering things and I'm like, oh, this says miss. That's outdated. But yes. Are you sure? Sure. It genuinely was like that. And it just got to the point where I was like, yes, I'm sure. I'm a psychologist. I would know. And the doctor was like, are you sure? No, it was fine. I found it a very amusing conversation. It's quite funny. I personally always find it made a lot more intense by the Irish accent, because like they will really stare into your soul and be like, but are you sure though? like really stare at you, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure, thank you. Hi Kuna, how you doing? I hope you're good. Also Bobo, I don't know if I said hi to you yet. Hello Bobo, how are you? How is everybody doing today? I'm okay, aside from tired and brain is spaghetti. Yes, that's all I've got. I'm otherwise I'm just existing. I continue to exist on this plane of existence. That's my current plan, and it's going okay, I think. I don't know what I'm doing. So, Today is a day. Is a day. I don't think this counts as a spoiler anymore because even the anime is like 10 years old now. But today is a day in anime. It is the day that Sword Art Online was cleared. How exciting. I saw that there was like this tweet. They made some, what was it? I think it was a Katakara tweet. It was very good. They made a, like a fake news bulletin. Not fake news in the bad way. It was, Bunko Dengeki, that was who it was. So like the publisher. They made this video that was like a news report on it finishing and like all of the people waking up. On breaking news, Sword Art Online has been cleared on the 7th of November around 2:55 JST. Sword Art Online was cleared. 6,000 people trapped in the virtual reality world wake up. The Sword Art Online incident is resolved. It also says at the bottom, this is a commercial, which is quite funny. At least they declared their fake news. That's quite nice. But yeah, today is a day. It is the Sword Art Online clear day, which is very exciting. Very exciting. So I thought, let's do something related. It would be fun, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be fun to do something related? Welcome SAO Raiders. Oh, yes. Is anyone else actually still in it? I am. I'm still in Sword Art Online, actually. I no longer can tell the difference between the real and the virtual world. I'm very stressed. What is me and what is my VTuber? I don't know anymore. It's all becoming one and I don't know how to cope. Oh. But yeah, that's the plan. Originally, I was going to read that, like, the paper we were reading before, but I thought this is more fun. Let's do this instead. It's literally a once-in-a-lifetime event that I can capitalize on an event in anime in order to do psychology. So let's do it. Let's do it. We're doing it. Let's go. Let's go. Check me out. Bringing up the paper. Less than half an hour into the stream. Whether that means we'll read it is another thing. Okay. Okay, where is my thing? Here it is. Here it is. I can do this. There we go. Oh, that's too zoomed in. Boop, boop. How's this? Nope. This. There we go. That's good. I like that. That's good. The Animal Crossing effect? Yeah! It's like, what? So like in Animal Crossing, where it's like a real world event and it's in Animal Crossing too. Because I have somehow, like, I have somehow managed to miss every single St. Patrick's Day, and it's because I'm always, like, doing something, and it's very stressful. Oh, because Animal Crossing spiked during COVID. It did, didn't it? I was one of those people. I played 300 hours when I should have been doing my master's degree. Everyone ran to their islands. It's so true. It's very, very true. Well, it's funny you say that. Yes, this paper is indeed kind of related. So this paper is the psychological benefits of using social virtual reality platforms during the COVID-19 pandemic, the role of social and spatial presence, and it is by Miguel Barreda-Angeles. I hope I've said that right. I probably haven't. And Thilo Hartmann, who at that time were associated with the Free University Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Very cool, very fun. Very nice. And this was published in Computers in Human Behavior in 2022. So I have no idea what this paper is about, as always. I'm going into this blind and we will read through it together. It's kind of a little bit shorter than the previous ones. It's still 13 pages though. I don't know how much of that is references. How much? Let's find out. Okay. So like 3 pages of that is references. So it's like 10 pages really, because, you know, this is half a page. That's fine. That's good. That's good. So we're going to read through this. I have no idea what it's about. If I had to guess based off the title, I would assume that they could have a sample of like VR chat players or something. I don't know. I think this would be very fun. Hi Rico, how you doing? How you doing? Pronounced Angeles? Angeles? I hope I've said that right. I definitely haven't. I definitely haven't. I try. I made an attempt. Hello, Dead Hyperspace. How are you doing? How you doing? Hydrate and posture. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am. Ouch. Something cracked in a bad way. I'm sat up straight. Got tea. Is that acceptable? Is that acceptable? I'm gonna drink my tea. I did it right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm like monolingual. I'm terminally monolingual. It's very sad. Every time I've tried to learn another language, I've got stuck at like A1 level. Is the levels a thing outside of Europe? I just realized I don't know if it is. It might be a Europe thing. But like we have these like rankings? I don't know if that's the right way to like it's a framework. And you put yourself on the framework depending on what you can talk about. And like A1 is like I can go to France and say bonjour. Je m'appelle Psydere. Bonsoir. And that's it. That's like A1 and I get stuck at that. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, getting an A in every language you try? Yeah, an A1 no less. That must be the best of the best. It's from CEFR, European thing. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's used so universally here, like even for non-European languages, that I genuinely don't know. I didn't hydrate yet. 1 second. Okay. I've had my tea. Please remind me to drink it, because otherwise it's gonna go cold. Every time it goes cold, because I'm yapping instead of drinking my tea. It's very sad. You got the job, Dead Hyperspace. Well done. Well done. That's so good. Well done. You're a QA engineer now. That's so exciting. So exciting. Well done. We're all cheering you on. That was definitely what did it. That's definitely what did it. You should be proud of yourself. Good job. Hi, Mew. How you doing? I heard of the rankings before, but to be fair, I might have heard of it from a European source. Yeah, if it's CFR, then it's European. But yeah, I forget what is European sometimes. It's a thing that applies to Indo-European languages, but it's weird in others. Yeah. But it's interesting because like the places where I've like studied languages still used it for non-European languages. I think it's just because it's like easier to compare and like do the courses that way, if that makes sense. Yeah, I have A1 in a number of languages, and I am a master of none of them. I'm barely even a master of English, let's be honest. Oh. Something very basic for A1 is being able to read or write, but with thousands of characters in languages like Chinese, it's hard. Yeah. I think the way that, so I did, I got an A1 certificate for Japanese, and I think the way that they did that, if I remember correctly, was like you had to learn the kanji associated with the words, if that makes sense. So like I think like the words that you were learning that were relevant for that level, they would expect you to be able to read and write the kanji for that level, but you wouldn't be expected to read or write others. Yeah. I don't know. It was very, yeah, I don't know. It was an odd one. It was an odd one. I remember I know for a fact I had to learn like all of the number kanji. I had to learn those up until, well, to be fair, you just put them together, don't you? Like 0 to 9 and then 10 and then 100 and 1,000 and 10,000. I think that was what I had to learn. I don't actually remember. It was quite a few years ago now and I've forgotten all of it. It was so pointless. Oh dear. Wait till you start counting stuff in Japanese. Yeah, the whole counting like suffixes, that was, yeah. And then they just change for no reason. I do remember that. Like it's like ichi, ni, san, etc. And then when you're counting people, it's like hitori, futari, sannin. Just suddenly changes. No reason. Cool. That's one of the few things I do remember because it annoyed me. Hi, Dungeon Slime. How you doing? We are indeed learning today. Or if you can call it learning. I like to think of it as learning, but Sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I wonder. Oh. In America, an introductory level class is generally a 101 level class. I've heard that, yeah. We do sometimes also style things as like 101 over here too, but like not as much. Not as much. It's more of a like for example, if it was a psychology one, it'd be like I don't know, like a first year undergraduate one might be like introduction to psychology research methods or something. And then a second year one might be just like research methods for psychology or something. And then a master's level one would be like advanced research methods. I don't know if that makes any sense. I have no idea. I have no idea. Hi man Shizzle, how you doing? You guys talked about CBT last stream I watched. I've since learned what you were giggling about. Thank you for always being educational. Oh god. Yeah, this is a highly educational stream. You'll learn about a whole range of things. Yes, yes. I'm so sorry. We were giggling about cognitive behavioral therapy. I don't know what you're talking about. I've been reading a new complexity book, and so brain is a bit wibbly wobbly woo. That's a mood. I am feeling like that after marking, grading, whatever word you prefer, grading student papers. It was going really well. I had like a string of like really, really good ones, and I gave a bunch of high marks, and I was really happy with them. Yeah, husbando knows. And then I got to one, and I was like, the writing style in this is a bit all over the place, and this is in the wrong section, and there's missing headings. This is odd. And these references don't really make sense. And then I looked at the reference list properly. And yeah, it was not...
Trying to cope with the high probability that I might fail my BA. VTuber is the consolation. Hi there.
Hi Oroshiro, thank you for the Prime sub. Thank you. Please don't fail your BA. You can do it. We're cheering you on. Do your best. You can do it. VTuber is indeed the consolation though. I'll accept that. VTuber is cheering you on. You can do it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, ChatGPT. So I'm sorry, I was about to say speaking of failing. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I was grading this paper and it's just all over the place. The writing style keeps changing. There's like a mixture of like not English, that's the wrong word. There's a mixture of like British and American spellings. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe this is just somebody that is like still getting to grips with the language. And then I look at the reference list, and I'm not joking when I say like if there were hypothetically 10 references, 3 of them were real, and then the rest of them were AI ghost references. They didn't exist. Like the link, you have to put a link after every reference. Actually I can show you here probably. Yeah, so like you can see here there's a link after every reference, and this is a DOI, which stands for Digital Object Identifier. So if it's an online thing like a paper, like a journal article, then it will have one of these. It's like a unique ID that lets people know that it's a real paper and lets you check it. And they all just went to like different papers, and I was like, that's really weird. And then I like reverse searched the actual references, and they just didn't exist. And then I double checked by looking in the journals, like in the specified issue, and they weren't there. And then I did one final check by like taking 2 of them and like looking at the authors, because they were real people, like there were real scholars in these reference lists. I looked at their Google Scholar page, and yeah, it wasn't there. So they weren't real. So that was good. That was very sad. So word of advice to any students watching: don't AI generate anything. Especially don't AI generate references, because we will know. We can work it out. We're not silly. Like if you've got somebody that's paying attention to what you've written, they will find out. So yeah. Don't risk it. Don't risk it, because like that's not good. That's not good. That's breaching our policies. Not good. Hi Bushy, how you doing? How you doing? Newsflash, Bushy enters a Psydere stream for the first time. Well, he's already submitted his work instead of having something due. Let's go! Well done, you did it. There'll be more though. There'll be more. You can do it though. We want to make this a pattern. This is a habit now. You're making this a habit. Submit the paper first, stream second. Psychology 101, we have a brain. What if I don't though? What if I don't? That's the real question. There's a church down the road from me, and the acronym they have for an acronym they have a giant sign that says CBT. Why? Why? I'm assuming the C stands for Christ. I can't work out what the B and T are for. Don't. That's quite funny. I would not be able to take that seriously. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh, the teacher failed you. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope you can talk to him. I hope you can. I hope you can. Good luck. I hope you can do it. We believe in you. Yeah, we believe in you. We believe in you. I was assuming it was cut and paste from the papers. No, it wasn't. I've seen that a few times though. I've got like a reputation because every time that I mark, I like find plagiarism, because basically we have like a plagiarism detector, and people normally only look at it when the amount is high. But like smart plagiarizers, they do it in a way that it doesn't flag up as mega high. So I have managed to find like quite a few people who have like literally their entire introduction section is like copied and pasted from abstracts, and then they've just put like connecting words or changed a word here or there, and they thought that it would get through, and like maybe if it was somebody else it would have got through, but unfortunately they got the autistic grader who wanted to check. So they got the one that wanted to check all of the references and all of the plagiarisms and everything. So oh dear. That is not good. That is a shame for them. Just don't plagiarize, you know? That's the easy answer. The easy answer. Yeah. Work forces us to do performance appraisals, and they did a thing this week on how to do your year-end appraisal using Copilot. Oh no. Oh. Okay. Right, don't get me wrong. I do think that it has uses, right? If you have to do something that's like repetitive and it's like generic, fair play. But like end of year appraisal, that's like putting in personal data, and that makes me nervous. I just refuse to put in anything that is in any way potentially identifiable. I get very, very anxious over it. I don't trust it. Don't hoard my data. I'm scared. I love DOIs. They made finding research articles so much easier. I know, right? I know. They made such a big difference. And I can't function without them anymore. I just exclusively use the DOI now, because like normally the actual journal link is like really, really long and obnoxious anyway. So I'm like, why would I do that when I could basically use the academic equivalent of Bitly? Like, I'm not doing that. Oh. SAO, Sword Art Online, where Carito. Hi, Pomerando Trip, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I hope you're good. Yes, Sword Art Online, yes. Today is Sword Art Online Clear Day. Yes. And we're going to eventually get around to reading this paper about virtual reality. I do have another presentation soon, but I have an important question. I have another sword tournament coming in March, and I ask that you allow me to draw my sword in the name of Husbando's honour, because a great man like him is equivalent to best waifu, and I just think it's funny. Please absolutely do. Look. Originally, he was my husband, and now he is our husband. He is our husbando mod. You may draw your sword in his honor. You may do it. Husbando. How dare you? I'm not paid enough for this. I suffer. It's funny because he's not paid anything. He's paid with my appreciation, and sometimes I make dinner. Except I can't cook, so that's actually a punishment. Oh no. Where is our side cat, Derry? Okay, I will do the cat again at some point soon, okay? I promise. It will come back. The cat model will come back, but not today. That was a Halloween exclusive for now. But it will come back. Oh. You're doing fine. Thank you for kind words. I'm glad you're doing fine. I'm glad you're doing the fine. Oh. We had a big snafu with medical transcription. They took an AI tool. Oh, they used an AI tool for transcribing the information and cutting hours. And lo and behold, without oversight, the AI hallucinated medical information. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. AI hallucinations are like really, they scare me. They make me nervous, because if you don't know that, like, I think a lot of people don't even realize they're a thing. Ow, I meant to do that. I think a lot of people don't even realize they're a thing. Like, I don't know. It's very, very concerning. I think that we need to start doing like basic AI literacy in the same way that we need to do media literacy, although we're not even on top of that yet. So, I don't know. I don't know. Hope you're doing just as well. I'm good, thank you. I'm a bit tired, but I'm okay. Oh yeah, I've got an update. That reminds me, I've got an update. I've got a thesis update. This week, I sent my advisor a full draft of my last empirical chapter of my thesis. And I also sent an almost full draft. Almost, because there's like 3 sections I still need to finish. But you know, it's getting there. Almost full draft of my literature review chapter. And I also sent an outline for my entire general discussion chapter. So that means that there is now something written in every single one of my chapter documents. In fact, there is over 1,500 words written in every single one of my chapter documents, and that makes me happy. Because that general I don't know what came over. I do know what came over me. I was avoiding doing my grading. I just sat there and I wrote out like an entire like 2,000 words of outline for this. Like, it's basically just an entire chapter already. I just need to turn it into sentences and like add references and stuff. But yeah, that's a thing. So I'm getting very, very close now. I also had to submit my paperwork, which is exciting. My submission paperwork. That's a thing. And we've approved my my defense panel as well. So that's also interesting and scary. So it's starting to become a bit too real now. I'd like it to pause for a minute. No, I'd like to get it done. I'd like to get it done. It needs to finish. And then I will be, indeed, I will be Dr. Derry, and then it will all be very good and worth it, and then I will use my PhD to continue being an anime girl on the internet, because why else would I study for 10 years other than to become an anime girl on the internet? This is a very good use of my time and expertise and copious tuition fees. I have blessing. Praise be. I shall seize victory and become regional champion once more in his honor. Yes. I think this is good. I think you should do that. Pay him in VTuber head pats. That's valid, actually. That's valid. He's refusing to give me any head pats until I submit my thesis. He's nodding because he's proud of himself. That's my my punishment. My punishment until I finish. It's like negative. It's negative operant conditioning. Or yeah, negative reinforcement. That's the one. It's negative reinforcement. I don't get a nice. Wait, no, that's not how it works. A bad thing is removed. A bad thing is removed once I do the thing. That's how it works. As I tell the juniors, never work for free. Cook dinners? Maybe. That's valid. That's valid. We know how he's paid. Free psychology presentations. Unironically, yes. Except he doesn't want them. Sometimes he's like, I just want to enjoy the thing. Stop psychologizing it. I think he appreciates it in general, though. Aren't human hallucinations even scarier? I feel like they're both scary because, like, people that... So, like, hallucinations, human hallucinations, they can just happen. But the majority of people that they happen to, like, they actually know that they're hallucinating. They can work it out, right? So, like, the whole... my music's too loud and I can't hear myself think. Wait, there we go, okay. So the majority of people that have them, they're not, like, pathological, they just happen. Yeah, so those aren't scary. People that end up into full-blown psychotic episodes, I mean, to be fair, like, I've worked with a few of them when I worked in mental health services and they still weren't scary. They're a bit chaotic. That's a better way to describe it. Like, but it's just chaotic, really. There's a kind of, like, it's not okay, I'm trying to work out how to phrase this. Like, there's a bit of a stigma around this idea that, like, people who are experiencing psychosis are, like, dangerous. It's not necessarily true. As with any kind of different or, you know, difficult experience, there is a small minority that will act dangerously, and obviously being removed from reality, like not being able to tell what's real and what isn't, it doesn't help. But the vast majority of people who are experiencing psychosis aren't threatening to other people. They might be threatening to themselves, like they might put themselves at risk. You know, they might be in danger from harming themselves accidentally or on purpose. In that way, it's scary. I think the thing that's scary about AI hallucinations is the scale of it, because, like, the number of people that experience psychosis, it's a very small minority of the population, whereas AI hallucinations are they're a regular occurrence, and people might be making quite important decisions about their lives or even about other people's lives without knowing that they're a thing, and therefore making decisions based on evidence that just doesn't exist. And I find that really scary. I find that scary because of the scale of it, I think. Yeah. I don't know if that makes any sense. Congrats, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's the other thing. We do have treatments for psychosis. They're not always perfect, but we do have them. We do have them. Don't work for free for companies. It's cool to volunteer for causes and such like that, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I cannot wait for someone to ask me why I'm training so hard and saying, yeah, you see this VTuber? Yeah, I perform for her husband's honor. I mean, she's great, but husbando's where it's at. I mean, I agree, to be fair. I agree. I completely agree. Oh, dear. December will be a great month, also in terms of streaming. Yeah, we like December. December's a good month. But yes, it will also be great in terms of streaming. I have a lot of plans. No spoilers, but I have plans for once. Whether I'll be able to get them into action in time is neither here nor there. But I do have plans, so wait and see. I might be a little bit like, I think probably end of November and then like the early to mid-December. I might be a little bit like dialing down streaming a little bit, but then once I have submitted my stuff, I will come back and it will be a comeback. How exciting. Dr. Dere, champion of psychology and tamer of husbando. Yeah. I think he tamed me, actually, to be fair. I wrote a full 2 sentences in an email recently. I I'm not gonna lie, I've like fallen off with my emails so badly. I'm like so far behind with the emails. I'm not even pretending anymore. It's yeah. I'm telling people I've got like a 2-month turnaround time on emails. Like, tell me if it's really urgent, but otherwise I probably just won't get to it until after I'm done with the thesis, because like my brain has too many holes in it. It's like Swiss cheese. I never told anyone about this, but sometimes when I'm super tired and trying to sleep, I have auditory hallucinations. I hear things that aren't actually there. That's actually a really common experience. So like, there's a kind of like phase in between when you're when you're falling asleep or when you wake up very suddenly. And depending on the stage of the sleep cycle that you're going in, sometimes that can happen. And it's actually quite a common occurrence and people just don't talk about it. So if you think about it, like sleep paralysis, so that thing where people experience like the feeling of something on their chest and then they often see something just like standing in the room. That is kind of the same thing, but in reverse. That's when you wake up too quickly. It's kind of the same thing. Obviously, it's also like visual instead of auditory, but different people have different like sensory responses to the same thing, which is quite interesting. I've never heard anything, but once I was going to say also like sleep deprivation is like a massive contributor to hallucinations. Like if you get the right level of sleep deprived, it's pretty much guaranteed that you will have them. And there's been a few times in my life where I've been like really, really seriously sleep deprived, and every single time I start seeing like cockroaches on things, which is kind of wild because I've never seen a cockroach in real life. But like it's like that thing in like in anime where there's like cockroach and it's censored. Like it's kind of like that because it's all like fuzzy, because I've never seen one, but I kind of roughly like I know from pictures roughly what they look like. So yeah, I see bugs when I'm horribly sleep deprived. It's a normal thing. It happens. I worked in a care in the community home with half a dozen residents, and they were all various kinds of schizophrenic, but they're all lovely. Except one day where a little old lady was having an episode, but that comes with the territory. Yeah, you just kind of get used to it, really, don't you? It's quite interesting. I think the scariest incident I've ever had was working with somebody who had Lewy body dementia, because obviously it just gets worse over time because it's a progressive disease. And it got to the point where like this person was basically, they couldn't tell whether mirrors were like a doorway or a window or a mirror. So like they would sometimes think that the window was a mirror, but then they wouldn't be able to tell that it was their reflection, so they'd start talking to it. And then sometimes they would think a mirror like wasn't a mirror, and they'd like try and climb into it. And there was a few times where they injured themselves quite badly, so that wasn't fun. Shadow Realm cockroach. Shout out to hypnagogic hallucinations. Fun time. Yeah. I get hypnagogic jerks really bad. That's my main thing, to be fair. I like will just be minding my own business, falling asleep, and then just all of my limbs are just like contraction time, and then I wake up. I'm laughing, but it's not fun. It's actually quite scary. But I know what they are though. So like I remember the first few, I get them a lot. And the first few times that I had them, I was like really scared. I didn't know what was happening because you feel like you're falling. But now like I've had them so much that my body has like almost like got rid of the feeling of falling. So now I just have the jerk and I wake up like, and then that's it. Like I don't have the sensation anymore. Kind of sad. I kind of miss it. It was kind of fun. I wasn't sleeping for 3 days in a row and a few 2 days in a row for a month. I had 12-hour sleep break from time to time. I heard and seen things I don't want to see again. Yeah. Don't do that. That's not good. Don't do that. But yeah, no, it's a common occurrence, any kind of hallucination when you're sleep deprived. Just delete all of the emails. If they're important, they'll get sent again, or people will contact you. True. Quack, I agree. At least it's not horribly delayed today. That's good. The quack was relatively on time. You'll get emails. You don't want them. Let's be honest, nobody wants them. There's too many. We had to learn about how to establish standard of care for medical malpractice, and it can be any doctor in the field. So legally speaking, I can be like, I would like to call my expert witness this VTuber. They're a doctor, trust me. Unironically, calling in Psych and MD as your expert witness. Like your doctor could legit be a VTuber. Oh no. I can see it happening eventually. It protects your privacy, you know. I can actually see at some point, like, you know when like the witness has to be kept anonymous or has to be kept away from the defendant. I feel like there's gonna come a point where they use VTuber avatars to do that. Watch as the technology becomes mainstream, and that's one of the ways that it's done. Oh dear. Brain zaps are fun too. Happens to me when I go through a stressful time. What are brain zaps? Because I've heard them like in relation to people, normally in relation to people coming off like SSRIs. It's like a certain type of antidepressant. In fact, actually, often it's a specific brand of antidepressant also, which is quite interesting. But then I also hear people say that they just get them randomly as well. And I don't know what they are. And it's very interesting. I don't know what they are. They sound painful. No, we haven't had the be mindful yet. We haven't. No, we have not. We are mindfulness. What? Mindfulnessless? There we go. Oh no, Hatsune Miku says I'm guilty or something like that. Oh no. Hatsune Miku does not speak to British people. I'm safe. It literally is. Can this doctor establish what is or is not the most common and reasonable practice in the medical field? So surely that if that's the definition, do they even have to be a practicing doctor? Like, that sounds kind of sus. Like, it sounds kind of sus. It feels exactly what I said, what it sounds like, but not painful. I can't even imagine what it feels like. Like, ooh. Is it kind of like when you get like a shiver running up your spine, but specific in your brain? Because that's how I'm kind of imagining it. That's what a zap makes me feel. Because I've never been electrocuted, thankfully, so I don't know what that feels like. Meet a teacher. Professor, I'm sorry I couldn't participate in your class. I was working on and financing this psychology project that uses an online live interaction to generate work in the psychology field. Proceeds to open Psydere stream. Oh, that's funny. Imagine if you actually tried to use that as an excuse. That's fun. Hi, Dark Magnate, how you doing? I'm actually going to Google brain zaps. That's a good idea. Brain zaps. What are they? Explain them to me. Brain shivers. What? Sensory disturbances, typically like associated with changes in certain medications. Okay, but that's not... What do they feel like? I don't know. Brain zap... What? Okay, wait. What do brain zaps feel like? There we go. Google knows. Top result. That's not helpful. Not helpful. Okay, there's a Reddit one. There's a Reddit post. Nothing bad ever happens on Reddit. Why would anyone spread misinformation? Okay. Right. Let's see. I'm gonna read my tea brilliant. I'm gonna drink my tea very quickly while I read this. A feeling of electricity in your brain. The closest comparison I can draw is the feeling in your very inner ear when you yawn. Almost as if you can feel the sound of heavy winds in your brain. It's very distracting. What? It's like a sudden onset of dizziness, disorientation, and a sudden reboot of my brain's senses. They're essentially... Oh, wait, what? Intense pressure. It was like someone's fingers are in my brain. Ugh! I don't like that. I don't like that. Melting. What? It seems like lots of people have different experiences of the same thing. This is quite interesting. A weak electrical current pulsing through my brain. Okay. I don't know if this will make any sense to anyone else, but like, if you ever had popping candy, all of this together is kind of making me think it's like the feeling that you get when you have popping candy. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't understand what it feels like because I've never had it, but that's the vibe I'm getting is popping candy, but instead of... Or like, if you like... I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, when I was younger, I used to like put the popping candy like at the top of my mouth and it would feel like it was in my brain. I'm kind of getting the vibe that it might be like that. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah, teacher, this was my contribution to the psychologist's work. Reads the copy pasta. We do love the copy pasta. One day I'll do like a proper dramatic reading of it. One day. I don't know though. I feel like the original was pretty good. I feel like I'm never going to be able to live up to it ever again. The code is broken and then the code is fixed. Iconic. Hi, Big Something. How you doing? How you doing? You get brain zaps when you're sleep deprived or from too much caffeine. This is so interesting. This is so interesting. Huh. The first time I got electrocuted, Miguel, you're gonna have to put that into context. Not gonna lie, the first time I got electrocuted I was like, oh, that feels weird. I expected it to be different. Yeah, you're gonna need to put that into context. I have never been electrocuted, thankfully. Must say that. I don't intend to. I get very scared. The doctor has to be in the field and in some states still a practicing doctor. It's in the questioning that you poke holes in the credibility of the expert testimony. The only time you don't need that is like, oh, this doctor was supposed to remove a skin tab and they cut off the patient's arm. I'm not sure if that's right. Yeah, like that's yeah. When you accidentally amputate the wrong arm type of situation. Yeah. Yeah. Pop rocks of the mind. Yeah. That's how I was reading it. That's how it... Yeah. Oh, it's like if you get dizzy for a second and your brain feels fuzzy. That happens to me when I stand up too quickly though. Like, if I stand up too quickly, then I get really dizzy and lightheaded and I have to like lean on something and like I black out, my vision blacks out and I can't hear anything properly for a second. So, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if brain zaps are like a fairly common experience, even for people that haven't taken any antidepressants. You slept for 2 hours today? Goodness gracious, that sounds very that's impressive. Running on coffee, yeah, I'm not surprised. That's legit impressive. I stopped functioning without like 7. Yeah. I've got like a very small window of sleep time. I need to have like between 7 and 9. If I don't get that, then I'm not functional. Hi Spidere, how you doing? How you doing? Good evening. Good evening to you too. Some peps do sub goals with some peeps do sub goals with punishments like that. Yeah. I don't know. I feel weird about Having sub goals in general, I don't know, it feels weird. It feels weird. I'm here to science and to have a good time. I'm not here to make money. That being said, all of the subs and stuff do just go straight back into the channel, so yeah. It's just making the hobby a little bit better. Doing better science communication. She says, having had a paper up this whole time and not actually started reading it, as per usual. We'll get to it, I swear. I was connecting a generator with a male-to-male plug, unfortunately known as a suicide cord, by how safe they are. Brilliant! Okay! Okay! Yes, okay. That puts it into context, but I have fear. I would just instantly die if I had to use one of those. I'd just get electrocuted and no, it'd be the end. I would just not be able to do it. I would just get electrocuted. Right, we've got an ad starting in a few minutes, so I will start reading the paper after the ad. We're doing the classic half chatting, half science again. I'm sorry. Writing a legal document feels so pedantic sometimes. It feels like I'm reading. The missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. Copy pasta. God, there's so many good copy pastas. We need to make the code one. The code one, we need to make this an actual copy pasta. Start spamming it places, people. The code is broken and then the code is fixed. Oh dear. I don't think it's like when you stand up too quickly. Oh, okay. I don't know. It's very weird for me when I stand up too quickly. Like everything feels fuzzy, and I can't see and I can't hear. It just all blacks out for a second and then it comes back. It's very weird. I don't think that's normal. Oh well. It's fine. The page on medical news today is what I was reading, which mentioned buzzing sounds and feeling faint, which made me think it's similar to epilepsy. Yeah, I do wonder if they're related. I do wonder. It wasn't Baby Shiro, it was BA1. Oh. How is Baby Shiro, by the way? I hope Baby Shiro is doing good. That reminded me. Where are we? I'm lost, I'm confused. I'm trying to catch up and I'm lost and confused. Sometimes scary when I stretch and almost black out. For me, yeah, I don't, like, it's not so much a thing when I stretch for me personally, it's more like when I stand up. So normally if it's like, if I've been on my PC or if I've been lying down and then I stand up, it's not even like I do it too quickly, it's just, I just normally stand up. It's like a 50-50 chance whether I'm gonna be like having a dizzy spell within a few seconds. Yeah. Doing fine. How about you? I'm doing okay, thank you. I'm doing okay. I'm a bit tired, but I'm making progress, and that is the most important thing. I'm going to be tired for the next few months, and then I won't be tired anymore, and it'll be worth it. In Brazil, we use a live wire to heat our bathing water. I don't like that. That makes me anxious. I don't like that at all. I really don't like that. Oh my gosh, I don't like it. That gives me so much anxiety. I just would never use it. Oh no. She's fine with some pain because of gases, but it's being managed. I need to finish the BA to take care of her properly. That, yes! Let that motivate her. Her? No. Motivate your baby to finish the bachelor's. Let her motivate you to do it. You can do it. You can do it. Do it for her. And if you don't want to do it for her, do it for the rest of us. Or do it for all of us. We're cheering you on. She's the reason. We provide emotional support. That's what we do. Yes, yes. Okay. I have no idea whether there's... Is this finished? Is there an ad running? I can't tell anymore. My thing is always like a few minutes delayed, I think. I can't tell whether there's an ad running. I don't know anymore. I'm just gonna reintroduce the paper, and then that will take me a few minutes, and then by then I think everyone will have come back. Okay, so that's me. I don't like it. I could see myself on 4 different screens, and I did not like it. Oh gosh, hello. I'm gonna mispronounce your name horribly. I'm so sorry. Can I just call you Zenith? Is that okay? Welcome in. Is the fuzziness from standing up caused by raising blood pressure inside the skull? Because I have the same thing and I don't know. So normally dizziness is actually falling blood pressure. But I'm not actually sure. I think there's a whole bunch of different things that can cause it. I'm gonna have a quick Google. Bearing in mind I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a biologist, so I don't know for 100%. I just want to fact check myself. Yeah, so normally feeling dizzy is because of low blood pressure. So like for example, when somebody has like a phobia of needles, like syringes, normally they'll pass out because for some reason, I don't actually know if we know the reason why, but for some reason, a phobia of syringes actually makes somebody's blood pressure drop dramatically, which is in contrast to what we'd normally see in phobias when it goes up. But yeah, if you stand up and then you feel dizzy, that's because your blood pressure has temporarily dipped. I don't know whether it's normal or not. I genuinely don't know. Standard advice, you know, if you are worried, talk to your doctor. Because I don't know. I'm not that kind of doctor. I'm not even I'm not any kind of doctor yet, actually. There's no such thing as too many Psydere. Dear Lord, can you imagine if there was a lot of us? Oh no. Oh no. Imagine a whole army of Psydere. We're here to teach you psychology badly. Maybe if there was an army of 10 Psydere, maybe we'd eventually finish the paper. Or maybe it would take 10 times longer. Nobody knows. Hi, Lord Basil. How you doing? I hope you're good. Yet, that's true. I'm not a doctor yet. This is very true. But I won't be that kind of doctor. I'll be a research doctor. I'll be able to research things about stuff and things. Okay, shall we read the paper now? Speaking of which, let's read the paper. We'll finally get there. Okay, so today we're going to make an attempt at reading some of this paper, Psychological Benefits of Using Social Virtual Reality Platforms During the COVID-19 Pandemic, the Role of Social and Spatial Presence. I haven't read it. As always, we're going to go into this blind. We're going to work it out together. It was in Computers in Human Behavior, which, from my understanding, is a fairly well-respected journal in the field of, like, human-computer interaction. But, like, so basically human-computer interaction is, like, the way that humans interact with computers, and potentially it may also become the way that computers interact with humans with the way that AI is going. But this is very much more focused on the way that people behave in relation to computer interfaces, rather than like what they're thinking or how they click on things or whatever. It's more like it's more psychological, basically. It's more psychological. So, yes. So this paper, it is a paper about VR, presence within VR, relatedness, self-expansion. Very cool. So let's read it. Let's read it. Let's read the abstract anyway. Right, okay. 1 hour after starting the stream, let's read the paper. To be fair, I introduced the paper like half an hour ago and then I got distracted, as always. So, yeah. Actually, I already read the title. Oh, I'm so bad at this. When I started doing these journal clubs, I used to actually be able to read a fairly big chunk of the paper in one go, and now there's like, I enjoy the chatting too much and I don't end up doing the science, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fun. It's fun that way. And you know, it means that we talk about the paper for a little bit longer, which is not necessarily always a bad thing. I want to become a psychologist too, and to be honest, the thought of it just crossed my mind again after some time, after I stumbled upon your stream. That's so exciting! Yes! We love fellow psychologists. Or potential psychologists. This is very nice. Absolutely. So, being a psychologist, it's an interesting concept, right? Because like people think of psychologist and they're like, oh yeah, like doing therapy. But obviously it's more than that. It's more than that. I do research. I have never, well, actually, it's not true that I've never done any kind of therapeutic anything. That's not entirely true. I used to do a psycho education thing when I worked in the NHS. But yes, I hope that I can get people excited about psychology. Hearing that makes me really happy. I'm not going to lie. Because I do want people to be excited about it. I think it's, you know, I'm not being funny. I've spent 10 years of my life doing it. Like, I think it's a very cool subject. And it's a lot more diverse than people realize. And that's why I'm purposely avoiding anything to do with mental health. Although I think this might be like mental health adjacent. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Let's see how my homonym does science. Yes. Let's go, Miguel. Let's go. Okay. Right. Abstract. I will have some tea and then we will abstract. Okay. Right. Okay. Social virtual reality platforms are an emergent phenomenon with growing numbers of users utilizing them to connect with others while experiencing feelings of presence, quote unquote, being there. This article examines the associations between feelings of presence and the activities performed by users, and the psychological benefits obtained in terms of relatedness, self-expansion, and enjoyment in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. The results of a survey conducted among users indicate feelings of spatial presence predict these three outcomes, while social presence predicts relatedness and enjoyment, but not self-expansion. I don't know what self-expansion is. I hope they tell us. Socialization activities like meeting friends in VR are associated with relatedness and enjoyment, while playful and creative activities allow for self-expansion. Moreover, the perceived impact of social distancing measures was associated with an increase in use, suggesting the utility of these platforms to help users meeting particularly frustrated psychological needs. These results provide a first quantitative account on the potential positive effects of social VR platforms on users' well-being and encourage further research on the topic. Okay, cool. So, actually, I think that's a pretty good abstract. I think that seems to be summarizing things fairly concisely, actually. Excuse me for 1 second. I need to cough. Okay, I've already coughed, and we're only into the abstract. This is going to go very well. Okay, right, so. Yeah, no, this seems fairly straightforward. So they've done a survey of people that use social VR platforms, which I'm assuming is stuff like VR chat and that, where you can like meet people in VR and talk to them and do activities with them. And then they're seeing how different activities within the VR space influences how they feel, how connected they feel with others, how much they enjoy their time, stuff like that. It seems to be that. So let's go into it and find out. Let's go. Hi, Tayu. How you doing? You've got this. I believe in you. Thank you. I'm glad somebody does. My throat is giving up on me, and that's not helpful. Psychology is probably my favorite thing. I very much enjoy learning and talking about it. Let's go. You are in the right place. We do that here. We do that here. I have a headache. Oh no. I hope it solves itself quickly. Take some medicine if you haven't. I'm doing all right. I'm glad. Oh, you know each other. Nice. That makes me happy. Hello. We all know each other. We're all becoming friends. It's all good. Speaking of becoming friends in a virtual space, go away, little pop-up. Speaking of becoming friends in a virtual space, let's keep reading this paper. Yeah. Oh, sometimes my segues are so bad that even I think, like, what am I doing? Anyway, okay. Right, so introduction. Let's speed read. Oh yeah, husbando, you've had a headache for a while, haven't you? You've had a headache pretty much all day. Everyone, give good word to Tayu and husbando mod so that their Headaches go away. Yes. Yes, head pats. Yes. This is good. Yes. Okay, so introduction. Throughout the last few years, the availability of virtual reality VR systems with a good quality and affordable prices and their progressive adoption by the public have paved the way for the proliferation of social VR platforms. Inspired by previous experiences of social virtual worlds such as Second Life. No one remembers Second Life. I remember that. I never used it, but I remember it. A plethora of VR social networks have emerged in the last few years. Platforms such as VR Chat, Space VR, I've never heard of that one, or Rec Room, among others, allow users to embody in an avatar and get immersed in a three-dimensional virtual environment where they can interact with other users in real time. Compared to other media technologies, the most distinctive aspect of these applications is that they rely on the use of immersive technology, VR headsets, which makes them able to elicit a strong illusion of presence in users, i.e. a feeling of being there, inside the virtual world, physically sharing the same space with other people. Among others, exactly. Saucy Raid backpack. Where's the Saucy Raid backpack? I don't even know if it's obvious that, like, I made this to look like an Among Us, but I did. That's the story behind the Raid backpack. It's meant to look like Among Us. Oh dear. Yeah, so can you see, anyway, paper. Can you see why I chose this paper on Sword Art Online Clear Day? Can you tell why? It's because the characters in Sword Art Online very much had feelings of being there. It definitely created an illusion of presence. So I thought this is valid. This is a good paper to talk about today. This is related. Yeah, speaking of Sword Art Online, maybe if you remind me at the end of the stream, I'll share my opinions on it. I might share my opinions. Who knows? I might even tell you what I think. I might even give it a rating. Anyway, communities of people are often born around a shared physical space. Wait, what? Communities of people are often born around a shared physical space, and well, I feel like that was definitely true in 1999, but yeah, that's definitely not a requirement now. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And the physical immediacy of others is a central component of the feeling of social presence. By offering virtual spaces where people can hang out, chat, and play games together in apparent physical proximity, social VR apps could be especially well suited to foster feelings of social connection among users. This potential may be particularly beneficial in a context of social distancing measures, for example, lockdown of public spaces or obligation to stay at home, as the ones enforced to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. As the name reveals, social distancing aims to drastically reduce people's physical proximity to each other. However, social contact and relatedness are central human needs, and social distancing can have detrimental effects on people's psychological well-being. Unsurprisingly then, perhaps, usage data of social VR platforms tentatively suggests that users adopted these applications to overcome the psychological burden imposed by social distancing measures. According to Steam... Wait, what? We're seeing Steam charts in an actual academic paper. Nice. According to Steam charts, the number of concurrent players on AltSpace VR increased by 79.21% at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic during March 2020, and by 57.75% in April 2020, whereas the average monthly increase in previous year, from March 2019 to February 2020, was only 1.39%. The percent is quite important there, isn't it? Likewise, VR Chat, whose monthly increase in users in the previous year was only 1.9%, experienced increases of 18.63% and 20.9% during March and April 2020, respectively. Okay. So, yeah, so they're saying that during the pandemic, people couldn't, interact face-to-face. They couldn't be physically near each other. So during lockdowns, people turned, when they had the technology available to them, they turned to VR as a way to experience that. And this is quite interesting. because I'm gonna keep referencing Sword Art Online. I'm sorry, but like the first arc of Sword Art Online is no longer like it's not spoilers. It came out 10 years ago. They definitely there was, you could definitely see physical proximity in Sword Art Online. That's one way to put it. Yes. I've contributed to science with my Steam data. You certainly have. You certainly have. I thought communities of people are usually born in hospitals. Well, it's not untrue. It's not untrue. It's not untrue. Yeah. I've never actually used VR. So I don't know what VR chat is like. I keep being told that you don't need VR to do VR chat, but I feel like that's missing a big chunk of the fun, you know? I do want to try it though. Imagine how, I feel like it would be really weird to like go on VR chat and like, because I'm assuming you can import your own model, and I'd be able to import my VTuber model, and then I'd be like, this is me now. I feel like that would be a very weird experience. I don't know. Knowing VR headset prices, not many people could use it. Yeah, that's the reason why. Well, that and lack of space. Those are the two reasons why I've never tried it. Don't you dare criticize this paper for using Steam charts if you're referencing Sword Art Online. I'm not criticizing it. It's just nice to see it. It's like fun to see it. I mean, it's valid data. It is valid data. That's the first place I would go to see whether people were starting to use it more over the pandemic as well. So that's totally valid. Oh. It came out 10 years ago, Face to Dust again. I know, right? Don't even get me started. I keep reminding that some of my favorite anime like came out 10 years ago or even more, and I'm like, please make it stop. I don't like this. I don't like this. The thing that really stressed me out was when Pokemon had its 25-year anniversary. That really upset me. There's lots of odd groups on VR chat. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I feel like it's probably a place that a lot of people go if they're like... It's interesting because this is saying that people, you know, might have gone onto VR as a way to offset like the lack of proximity to people because of social distancing. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people that go onto VR chat, like just by default, without even, like before even the pandemic happened, I wouldn't be surprised if it's also people that kind of feel like that. They don't feel like they have anyone that they can be with, or even, you know, they're like marginalized in the sense of like, you know, they're like ostracized basically. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of like odd groups, because there's probably a lot of like people that diverge from the norm. And the social dynamics of those tend to be not what the average person expects, and also not very well represented in the literature about group norms and socializing. So yeah, I think that in itself, like, that's super, super interesting and like a massive gap in human knowledge in general, I think. Yeah. In-person psychology lecture in VR chat, let's go. I would actually do that. I'd do that as like a like an event or something. Can you imagine how fun that would be? That'd be so fun. Hi Downtown Bunny, how you doing? Keep in mind that uploading your model to VR chat makes it publicly available to rip by others. I mean, to be fair, okay, first of all, that is valid. But to be fair, this one is a Vroid model anyway. Like, I think somebody could just recreate it if they were dedicated enough. It's not that hard. I had zero modeling or rigging experience and managed to do this, so that, yeah. I'd use this one because this is probably going to be the worst model I'll ever have, apart from the first one. Hi Doc React, how you doing? How you doing? Pretty sure there's a pastor doing his sermons on VR chat. You know what? Fair play. Everybody has their space. Everyone has a niche. Everyone has their niche. Just bought the Quest 3. Nice, nice. I really do want to try it at some point, but yeah, I haven't got the money or time or space at the minute. One day I will have a salary and free time after work and an office, and then maybe. Gotta head out to do life things, no problem. Thank you for joining us, Mew. I hope you have a good night or rest of your day, whatever time zone you're in. Someone said the age of Shrek. Don't do that. Don't. Stop. No. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. There's more lonely people online. I think that's well documented. But it's definitely more than loneliness. Yeah, no, it's probably like interesting social dynamics type of thing. Like different than average social dynamics. You want to research the social norms of neurodiverse in online spaces? Yeah, I think this would be super interesting because, like, pretty much, like, aside from like a few rare exceptions, pretty much all of the existing literature about like what happens when you like observational data about people interacting, it's overwhelmingly like they screen out neurodivergent people. So this actually happened to me when I was at undergrad. For undergrad, we had, like, this is a fairly common thing in psychology programs. You have to take part in a certain number of experiments. And you get, like, credits for doing it. That's what the channel points being called research credits is for, is because that's what they called it, like, every university ever. It's just like, you need to get this many research credits in order to pass your study participation section of your research module or whatever. But yeah, like, because they screened out anyone that was neurodivergent in most of the social psychology and cognitive psychology studies, I ended up with like a points deficit, and I ended up having to like complain to the staff, being like, because originally they were like, you need to get this many points in in-person experiments and this many points in like online experiments. And I complained to them because I was like, I keep getting screened out of the in-person ones, and I've been trying all year and I've just not, like, it got to like halfway through the second term, like, you know, 2 months before the deadline. And I was like, I genuinely will not get these points. Like, I can't do it. Like, I'm not allowed to take part in the studies. And they were like, oh, we've not really experienced that before. And I was like, well, there are other neurodivergent students. So either they're just taking part and lying and your data's balked, or like, you know, it's like, I'm just really unlucky and I'm just not seeing it. And then it turned out that like pretty much everyone else who was neurodivergent too was having the same problem. Like, there ended up being like a whole bunch of like 25 of us that complained. So they did actually change it in the end. So like, if you had a registered disability, you didn't have to do the in-person studies anymore. So yeah, that's collective action, everybody. But like, because we get filtered out, it would be really, really interesting to see how the social norms develop and like how social dynamics work between, for example, like two autistic people instead of like two neurodivergent, two neurotypical people. I think that'd be very interesting. I accidentally oh my gosh, I'm struggling to talk now. What's going on? I accidentally dozed off. I think the adrenaline from my oral report has worn off and the 3 hours of sleep is backfiring. Yeah, that's a sign that you should probably get some sleep soon. Probably. I can't do the VR headset due to nausea. That's true, actually. I get really bad motion sickness, so I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens to me. I've only ever tried it like twice, but it wasn't like a proper VR headset. It was like one of the phone ones. And that gave me really, really bad, like, motion sickness. But it wasn't, like, encompassing my whole field of vision, so I thought that might be why. I don't know. I'm okay if I sit down, I think. I think it's probably just something I need to get used to. I don't know. It's hard to justify buying a headset when you're not sure if you're the type to get motion sick by it. Yeah. I think I want to do one of those things where, like, you go somewhere and use them, or you, like, rent them out for a bit first to see, because otherwise it is a big investment. It's not necessarily worth it. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow, the true Pisces? Is it Pisces? Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. You're a participant now, by the way. You've just signed the consent form. My friend is actually working on an article about socializing in VR. Oh, that's really interesting. And now he writes about loneliness in VR chat. That's super interesting. That's very, very interesting. How do they screen out the neurodivergent out of the online space research data? See, I don't know. I don't know. I was talking about studies that were actually done online. Sorry, not online, in person. So they were like looking at social dynamics in person, which I assume is why I was screened out. The only ones I ended up taking part in were ones where I was a Confederate, because they were like, we're going to tell you exactly what to do and you will do it. And I was like, okay. And then I did it. And they were like, wow, you're good at following a script. I was like, yes, thank you. You're very consistent. Yes, I'll keep doing it exactly the same way every time. Yeah, the double empathy problem. Exactly. That was actually a study a little while back that showed that the double empathy problem is an actual thing. So we've got actual empirical data on it now, which is very cool. Hi, Nico. How you doing? Can I get my research credits here? I mean, you can get some research credits and then use them for things like saying, yeah. I actually don't know what else is the point of them. Wait, what? At least you're polite about it. Yes, you've just consented to take part in the research. You're now being studied for science. Please do not resist. Welcome in. Yeah, I agree. Testing the various types of headsets would be wise before buying. Yeah, I should do that. Quack. I agree. No sleep. Have another report tomorrow. Got to get ahead of some paperwork. I'll talk in an hour. And I talk in an hour. And I talk in an hour that I want to see. I'm struggling. Good lord. Yeah, maybe have a nap. No, have a nap. And then work on the other stuff. That sounds like a good idea. I need some tea. Give me a second. I'd love to contribute to that field of study somehow, because neurodivergence is very much a commonly misunderstood and or overlooked thing. Not to mention the whole dynamic of loneliness and isolation. I have a lifetime of experience with those things. That's the thing, right? And it's like, it's not even a small bit of the population. You know, it's been becoming increasingly clear that like neurodivergence is just like, you know, it's just well, it's part of normal human variation, which anyone who's looked at the data would have been able to tell you anyway. But like it's representative of a fairly big chunk of the population. So I don't understand why people are so consistently screened out. And also like it was often based on diagnosis as well. But like I was diagnosed fairly late. So I was diagnosed in my second year of my undergrad, like my bachelor's degree. But then I'd gone through my entire first year doing the studies. And then in the second year, I was suddenly not allowed to do the same studies because I had a diagnosis now. And it's like, I was always neurodivergent. So what's up with that? It seems a bit silly. Posture check. Thank you, Orishiro. Thank you. I think we've still got links turned off, so it's not going to work. Sorry, Doc Rect. Put it in the Discord server. My throat is going. I'm so sorry. Give me a second. I need some water. With Moonrider, I think an open source Beat Saber, I'm getting more exercise than when I was going to the gym. This is the thing. The thing that I want and I know would make me do loads and loads of exercise is a DDR pad. I love DDR, but like for me, when I was growing up, DDR was really expensive, so it was like a rare, like, you know, like a payday treat. Yeah. So I know that if I got a DDR pad, I would play the heck out of it. So I really want to get one eventually, but again, lack of money, lack of space, lack of time right now. DDR stream when? I actually would. That's the thing. I actually would. I wouldn't even put on a mask. I'd literally just like find a way to set up my VTuber tracking and then yeah, like do a
War.
Bcalm. Thank you for the resubscribe, Nightmind. Thank you, thank you. It's been 9 months. Oh my gosh. You know, you've been subscribed for so long that you could have produced a child in that time. And that scares me. That scares me. So I know quite a lot of people that have got kids, and I'm like, you've spent 9 months raising a child. Raising a child? That's not the right word. Gestating a child. I have spent 9 months gestating a community. We are not the same. Don't sub-impregnate me. You know, I was thinking of Oroshiro and Baby Shiro when I said it, but okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. I feel like divergence is much more the norm than we acknowledge, and so much of our society serves to be a detriment to it. Yeah, this is the thing, right? This is the whole thing about like the argument of like the social model of disability. It says that like differences in themselves aren't disability. It's the fact that society refuses to be inclusive of those differences that makes it a disability. So it's kind of that argument, right? Yeah, and when it comes to a lot of neurodivergence, it probably is true. Yeah, obviously there's stuff where people genuinely do need like extra support and they won't be able to live normal lives, but overwhelmingly they probably could. They probably could. And that's why there's been such a shift from like institutionalization to a what's the word? Like a community-based approach to like invisible conditions. Is it mandatory to disclose that you're ND if you have a diagnosis? I have one, and if I disclosed it, I'd be unemployable here. No, but you have to disclose it in order for the university to give you support. And like in the UK, universities are fairly like, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They're fairly inclusive. As long as you're like on the list of things that they deal with regularly. If you're not on the list of things that they deal with regularly, they tend to freak out and then just kind of give you adjustments that don't make any sense. When I moved over here, they just copied and pasted my my reasonable, what's the word? Reasonable accommodations, reasonable adjustments, whatever you call them. They just copied and pasted it from my undergrad. And it's like, extra time on exams. And I'm like, I don't have exams. Or like flexible deadlines for coursework. And I'm like, I don't have coursework. And they're like, oh, what do you need? And I'm like, I don't know. I've only just started the program. And then it took until like halfway through my second year for it to change. So yeah, it can be variable. It can be variable. What's DDR? It's Dance Dance Revolution. It's the thing with like I don't know if you've seen it, like the pad on the floor. It's like a rhythm game, and you step on the pads on the floor. Yeah, the dance game. Yeah, it's not just on the Wii. It was I think it was originally an arcade game. And yeah, I didn't have it on the Wii or anything. But we did have it in an arcade in London, and also there was quite a few like there was like a European version that was in loads of like seaside arcades as well. And yeah, used to play it occasionally when I was younger, and that'd be fun. That'd be really fun. Full body side dance stream would be so hard. It would be really bad because I'm really clumsy. I'm really bad at it, but it'd be fun. It'd be fun. It'd be fun. I went to incubating instead of gestating. They're both accurate though, innit? They're both accurate. Pregnant Psydere when? Literally never. Literally never. No, thank you. Don't worry, fellow lizard people. We respect your egg-laying ways. I feel like they're both accurate words though, really, because it's just incubating but inside. It's still accurate. The clone chambers be cloning. Oh lord. Can you imagine if there was more than one of me? That'd be terrible. That'd be terrible. Okay. Right, back to the paper. Right, so previous research has extensively investigated the reasons for This is a speciesism-free zone. Yes. I'm going to lay my egg. Yes. Oh. Have you ever seen Dance Rush Stardom? It's made by the same people who did DDR, but it actually requires some dance skill because it's shuffling. I have not, but that sounds even worse than normal DDR. I need you to understand that my brain and my limbs do not connect properly. Okay? This is part of my neurodivergence. My brain and my limbs do not connect properly. I will try to go left and I will go backwards. I will try to go through the middle of the door and I will go straight into the door frame. Like, sometimes I'm holding something and my hand just decides not today and then the thing flies across the room. It's just like, when I say that a DDR stream would be extremely funny, I really mean it, because it would be going really well for part of it and then it'd suddenly go really bad and I'd like fall over and explode. So yeah. Clone OBS source for Psydere maxing. Oh, maybe we should do that. No, we absolutely shouldn't. We shouldn't. You can share clips in the Discord. Absolutely, go for it. Twice the cider rate, twice the food consumption, half the productivity. That's just a normal Friday. Okay, right. Previous research has extensively investigated. Can't confirm. Okay. Right. Previous research has extensively investigated the reasons for and the psychological benefits obtained from the use of virtual social worlds like Second Life. However, only recently researchers have started to explore users' motivations for using social VR. No research has yet, to the best of our knowledge, sneaky little insert there, addressed in a quantitative way the way that psychological benefits that users gain from the use of social VR platforms and how feelings of presence contribute to those psychological benefits. Understanding this facet is not only relevant to expand our knowledge of the uses of social VR platforms, but also for guiding the industry towards designing related VR applications that are accepted and adopted by users. Yes, we love the dual benefit of the research. It helps us understand the users and it helps us improve it for the users. Double whammy. Good justification for your study. We like that. Okay. Moreover, examining the use of social VR platforms seems particularly relevant in the times of COVID-19 pandemic. Some scholars recently hinted at the potential of traditional media and VR to alleviate the psychological impact of social distancing measures. But to date, the benefits obtained from the use of social VR platforms in this context have not been analysed. Accordingly, the present study aims to shed further light on the psychological benefits of the highly immersive VR platforms. This is slightly off screen, isn't it? There we go. Okay. Also, in the COVID-19 context, in what follows, we report the results of an online survey conducted among users that provides insights into these questions, and we discuss the relevance of our results for the scientific understanding of this new type of tool for mediated social interaction. Okay, cool. This is true, to be fair, because like if you can find information about how people use VR and what the motivations are for it, then you can start to encourage more people to use it, and then we can start doing interesting research in it. So that was very cool. Hopefully the evil scientist from Sword Art Online doesn't read this paper, though, because we don't want him to encourage people to do it. Okay, water. What are these? These are alt space. Bruh. Wait, what? Out of all of the avatars that they could use, that's certainly an avatar. That's certainly an avatar. I kind of like it. Oh, so these are examples of avatars used in Alt Space VR, VR Chat, and Rec Room. Very cool. Oh no, the mushroom. He's mushroom maxing, yes! I love it so much. I want that model. Do you think that we can... Do you think that would be a good video? Do you think that'd be a good VTuber model? The mushroom. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I thought he was called Mark Zuckerberg. No comment. The SAO reference finally makes sense. The jury in my brain just gasped. Yeah, you're sleep deprived. The mushroom fully encapsulates what people use VR chat for. Memes and you buy things. It's not, that's actually cute though. That's actively cute. I would use that. I would use that as a model. It's kind, I'm not gonna lie. It might be the color, but it's kind of got Psydere vibes, don't you think? Don't you think this mushroom and me are very similar? I think we're very similar. Okay. Right. Okay. So, theoretical background. Right. Have you seen the mushroom hat? The mushroom hat? The mushroom hat? I don't know what you're referring to, but I'm interested. Shroom Dare. Can you imagine if I like did a stream about, this is science. I did a stream about the psychological effects of psychedelic usage with a mushroom avatar. Or is that it's educational, so it's fine. That, or I could do a spaghetti cooking stream. See, we can do Zuckerberg jokes without doing autism stereotype jokes. Exactly. Become shroom, become squeegee minion. Yes. That would actually be so fun. EG's, like, every single model that I've ever seen EG have, they've all been so good. Like, every one of their models is brilliant. 10 out of 10. That would be cool. It's very tempting, isn't it? There's, like, effects that I can put on in the face tracking thing as well. So that would be funny. Also, how did you put a link in there? How did that work? You've broken the system. What the heck? That's not meant to work. He's a VIP. Oh, do VIPs get it? Is that how it works? We allowed links for VIPs. That's cheeky. Yeah, I see. Big brain. Well, there you go. There's a reason to try and get VIP now. At some point, I'll write an actual guide as to like the things that we use it for. Because there is actually a secret list of things that you can get VIP for, but you're not allowed to see what they are until you've got VIP, because I thought that if I make it public, then it's going to become a goal, and that ruins the fun. I prefer people to just like achieve the thing and then suddenly get VIP and then be confused. Magic mushroom cooking stream. That's definitely against TOS. Oh my gosh. As always, the 1% can ignore all the rules and us plebeians are bound. In fairness, yes. I have no other explanation, just yes. VIP speedrun. Just try everything and see what works. I'm testing people's experiment abilities. That's okay. You're fine. Hard to explain what a mushroom chat is within the constraints of a chat. Well, I imagine it. I'm not opening the link, even though it's Etsy. Hang on. I know it's Etsy, so it's fine. But like, it's like, I know it's just a hat that looks like a mushroom, surely. Like, digital pattern. Okay, hang on. Wait. Mushroom hat. Digital pattern. Etsy. Yeah, it's just a mushroom hat. It's like EG. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like EG, who we raided the other day. Like, It's just a hat that looks like a mushroom. It would work well. It would work well. I think it could work. We should do it. We should do it. It's a hat. It's a mushroom. Yeah, it's a mushroom hat. It's only TOS if it's illegal, but it's at least in the US psychiatrists are allowed to administer it. Huh, that's interesting. I don't think it's allowed here yet. It's doing clinical trials, I think. It's doing clinical trials for a few things. Their next legal assignment can do streams. Shrooms on stream. No! No shrooms. We are shroomless in this chat. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Moving on. Theoretical background. Theoretical background. Right. Social VR platforms are 3D virtual spaces that where multiple users can interact with one another through VR-mounted head displays. They have also been... Sorry, I'm also distracted myself now because VR head-mounted displays to me sounds like the TV head people from Skibidi Toilet, and the fact that I even know what those are makes me feel really depressed. Okay. They've also been defined as applications that enable geographically remote users to interact with each other in a shared virtual environment through VR technology, i.e. immersive head-mounted displays. At the present time, that's just a rewording of the same thing. I'm confused. At the present time, several online applications with a social component exist, with diverse characteristics and functionalities. I'm sorry, what is the word Skibidi doing in the research paper? It isn't. I've just added that in. I'm saying that the description of VR, like headsets as VR head-mounted displays, like head-mounted displays makes me think of the TV people from Skibidi Toilet. That's what I'm saying. And like I said, the fact that I have seen enough of Skibidi Toilet to know what those are bothers me. It bothers me. True streamer brain rot. That's what you think. Secretly, I'm planning a psychological analysis of Skibidi Toilet. This is educational streamer brain rot. It's brain fermentation. I need to find the legal document that does mention Skibidi. What? There's a legal document that has... Okay. I'm sure there's like some kind of like communication science paper that's already analysed the rhetoric of Skibidi Toilet or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll try and find that one day too. I suffer. We truly live in a timeline of all time. We do. But at least, the real timeline of all time was Sword Art Online, and we're not there. We're talking about VR head-mounted displays rather than VR head-mounted simulations. So, how disappointing. Legally, probably yes, still against TOS. Yeah, this is very true. First-person account of the effect of magic mushrooms and the sociological effect of parasocial relationships. This is not what I meant when I said I wanted to do science on stream. This is not what I meant. Okay. Probably the closest non-VR referent for social VR platforms is Second Life, a multi-user, three-dimensional online virtual world that allows users to create their own avatars and use them to interact with other users, objects, and places even. Launched in 2003 by the company Linden Lab, Second Life was very well received by the public. Just a few years later, it had about 1.1 million users, although user numbers declined again afterwards. Unlike most online games, Second Life does not define clear goals for users, but relies on the spontaneous actions or activities performed by the user, for example, exploring virtual spaces, socializing with others and meeting new people, trading with virtual products, or attending user-generated events, among others. Most current social VR platforms have this in common with Second Life. Though some of them do have a very specific focus, such as, for instance, the shared watching of video streaming, for example, big screen, or playing games with spatial component, for example, playing paintball in Rec Room, most of the new VR platforms can be considered general-purpose social VR networks that, rather than focusing on any specific activity, allow for social interactions between users through a variety of activities and virtual environments. The fundamental idea of platforms like VR Chat or AltSpace VR is that users, embodied by their own avatars, may explore different worlds and meet other users, chat, and hang out with them, and take part in social activities such as gaming or virtual events. For example, attending concerts, conferences. What? Oh my gosh. VTuber related research conference in VR Chat. Big brain, I've had a thought. Someone write that down. Or even religious services. There you go. There's the pastor. The VR Chat pastor has been... Pastor. I say that too similarly to the food. The VR Chat pastor has been mentioned. Do it. Hi, Komikomono. How you doing? I'm very tempted. This is very tempting. It would be a funny hypothetical for a first-year law student. Professor, trust me, writing a legal memo justifying having this VTuber do shrooms on stream is good research exercise. Look, all I'm saying is, if anybody ever wants to write an assignment or like do research involving VTubers, I'm more than happy to facilitate it. If you need me to do something for your research, I will do it, but I will not do something illegal. I will do stuff that's within my legal and ethical boundaries. Virtual Scientist Research Conference in VR Chat. The VR Symposium. Oh my gosh. Get out. Get out with that pun. That's pretty good. Oh no, can you imagine? I think that would actually be really fun though. I think that would be really fun. Now I've got an idea for a project. Not even after a lawyer reassures you it's in fact legal. It's still not good enough. I'm still not doing it. I'm in Oregon where all drugs are legal and I'm open to being a research subject. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is getting out of hand. You can riff off V-theorem with V-proof or V-solution. I wonder if we could do it as a V-theorem event, actually. That would be fun. That would be fun. Maybe choke on my noodles. I'm still traumatized from the fact that I spent so long spelling V-theorem wrong. Like, I realized I'd been spelling theorem wrong my whole life because of V-theorem. So that was good. That was good. Okay. Where did we get to? These platforms also rely on user-generated content to a large extent. Users can generate, for example, thematic virtual worlds and launch user-driven events and activities in these environments. For example, open mic nights, LGBT support groups, mediation trainings, all in AltSpace. Okay. Existing social VR platforms share a basic communicational affordance with Second Life that users interact with each other using their avatars in real time. In light of the affordances suggested by Fox and McEwen, 2017, social VR platforms and social virtual worlds like Second Life offer synchronous interactions, allowing for personal, i.e. the messages are directed to specific individuals or groups rather than broadcasted, and private, users control who receives the message, forms of communication. With a high degree of conversational control, for example, users can start or end an interaction at any given moment, and network connectivity, users can interact with physically distant others. Since interactions occur in real time, they're not persistent, interactions that are normally ephemeral, although they could be recorded by others, nor editable, interactions cannot be modified once they've occurred. Within this common set of affordances, slight variations exist among social VR applications. For example, some platforms like VR Chat allow for a higher level of anonymity, for example using a nickname which may be changed, than others. For example, in Facebook Horizon, users' avatars are linked to their Facebook profile. What is Facebook Horizon? Is that like Metaverse before it was Metaverse? Sounds scary. Okay. However, the key aspect differentiating social VR platforms from more traditional virtual worlds like Second Life is that they are designed to be primarily accessed using a VR head-mounted display. This technology blocks the perception of the real environment. Just like in Sword Art Online. No. This technology blocks the perception of the real environment and provides an immersive environment instead that responds naturalistically to users' actions. For example, when users turn their head, the perspective of the environment changes. As a consequence, social virtual reality platforms like AltSpace or Facebook Horizon differ from traditional screen-based social worlds like Second Life in at least 2 key aspects. Second Life was never intended for VR and it's a very bad VR experience. Yeah, I think they're like comparing them. They're explaining how they're different. So they're saying like Second Life and VR chat, for example, are similar in these ways, but they're different in 2 ways. They're 2 like specific ways that researchers have identified. Facebook Horizon, aka we have VR chat at home. Microsoft Teams VR, dear Lord. As though Microsoft Teams wasn't bad enough already. Can you imagine if there was Microsoft Teams VR? That would actually upset me. Okay. We're gonna have an ad. Can I speed run this next? No, I can't. This is a long paragraph. Okay. We'll wait for the ad to finish. I apologize. Microsoft Teams has VTubers? What? What? I've used a VTuber avatar on Teams before, like with a virtual camera. I didn't realize they have 3D avatars. They're not anime. Oh, I mean, that makes sense, to be fair. I'm increasingly seeing more and more VTuber avatars that are not anime themed, and that makes me happy. Glad that people are getting creative with it. But also, like, mine's always going to be anime themed because... Well, actually, no, saying that, I have been contemplating, like, would it be fun to have models that are, like, they're the same design but in different styles? I think that might be quite fun. Like, imagine having, like, a... I don't know, like a... I don't know, I got nothing, actually. Adventure Time styled Psydere. Like, that would be fun. A book with glasses. What? Why? Why would you want that? This is my way of showing you that I'm serious about studying, guys. Literally becomes a book. I think they're fun for like a first few experience, right? It reminds me actually of I think it was during the pandemic, during one of the lockdowns, there was that lawyer who like turned himself into a cat on Zoom. He was using like a cat VTuber avatar basically. And then he was like, I'm not a cat. Does anyone else remember that, or is that just me? This was a very cool memory for me. I don't know what that says about me. But it was like, there was like no news in the whole world apart from, oh look, the hospitals are overflowing and all of the flights are grounded. That's it. That's all of the news. So then they started reporting really weird things. And the lawyer was one of them. Never gone into VR chat, but isn't it hard to emote if your avatar doesn't have limbs? Yeah, surely it would be. Surely it would be. I don't know. I've never played VR chat, but I've watched VR chat footage and I've seen like an interesting range of models, and some of them are literally just like T-posing basically the whole time, and it's quite funny. It's quite funny. You remember it super well? Yeah, that was good. That was like peak pandemic news. And then there was also that one guy who had his kids like walk in during an interview for like, I think it was for the BBC actually. That went viral too, I think. That was also peak pandemic news. Yes. Why can't we go back to this? Just that part of that news cycle, not the rest of it obviously, but like just that little wholesome part of the news cycle. Can we have more of that, please? Hi, Gilly Cat. How you doing? How you doing? Just popping in. I hope the discussions have been good. Honestly, we've been talking about pretty much everything except VR, so haven't been able to play VR stuff much, so I can't really contribute. No, me neither. Me neither. I've only like ever seen like a video thing in VR. I've never actually played a VR game. We haven't got very far through the paper yet. We're gonna learn more. We're learning about VR. I'm learning. Yeah, I hope you're good. I hope you're good. Is the ad finished yet? I think it is, yes. Okay, cool. Right, let's keep going. I'll have some water and then let's keep going. Okay. Social VR platforms can foster a strong sense of presence in users, that is, of feeling fully embodied and physically located in the virtual environment. Particularly VR-supported user tracking, the use of oh my god, big word. The use of stereoscopic visuals and wider fields of view enhance presence experiences. Yeah, so like if you've got a VR headset on and you can see more, like it's approximating your whole visual field, like it goes all the way around your head, like in, well, if you've got, you know, normal vision, then, or regular vision, average person vision, then you should be able to see around most of your head. And the best, most immersive VR is the one where it does that, rather than just being directly in front of you and having a border around it. And then, yeah, user tracking. So stuff that moves with you and also your avatar moves with you. Okay. Presence can be considered a largely automatically generated and mostly sensory-driven perceptual sensation or feeling that is introspectively accessible. Scholars commonly words. Oh my gosh, there's lots of S's in this sentence. Scholars commonly distinguish spatial, social, and self-presence. In short, spatial presence I'm getting to the point where I can't read. Okay. In short, spatial presence refers to users' sense of being physically located in and enveloped by the virtual environment, which also implies that displayed objects appear to be physically co-located and existing. Closely related, social presence refers to users' sensation of being physically co-located and socially connected with social others. While less immersive media like smartphones or screen-based social apps can also allow access to other people's mind or respond to the presence of another's mind, social VR platforms add to this presence of body. Closely related again, self-presence refers to users perceiving the virtual body as their actual body. In social VR, users can momentarily feel ownership over the virtual body of their avatar and experience their virtual self as their actual self. This is very Sword Art Online, goodness gracious. This might not only affect social interaction in VR, as our avatars change how we interact with others, but also motivate users to process and judge the overall social situation differently than, for example, in screen-based media, as in social VR, users can feel as if their physical body was involved and exposed. Yeah, so it gives this sense of like, a thing is happening with my actual body, because, yeah, if you've got tracking, especially on your model, you can... Because part of the feedback of like what our body is like what we can see. If you're used to seeing, then yeah, seeing yourself as being your model gives that feedback of like, this is me. Yes. Oh, also thank you for the hydrate. Night mind. Also thank you for the posture check and be mindful and stuff. I processed them and then didn't process them. When's a good time for us to do the be mindful? Let's do it at the end today. Don't let me forget. But yes, tea drink. I've run out of tea. I finished it actually. So I'll have some water. You're going to actually go to sleep now because you've hit the 1,000-mile stare. Absolutely. Go get some sleep, Bushy. Keep practicing the sword and for husbando's honour. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. There's a lot of work relating to VR and trans identity, although there might be some relation to body dysmorphia. Yeah, that'd be really interesting to look into. I don't really know much about it. What I would like to know is, like, for VTubers, like, if you've been... Because, like, obviously... So, like, Psydere is not me, obviously. This is, like, the open secret. We all know I'm not really an anime girl. Sad. But like, it's the thing that I've noticed is that the more that I stream and embody it as an identity, it's becoming closer to me in real life. I'd be very bad at doing the character, basically. So I wonder if whether like being in VR with that model would like do something weird to me. I do wonder. But I can see stuff being really interesting about trans identity as well. But yeah, I'm thinking more in terms of like anyone that's a VTuber, like that's kind of, because obviously like, you know, I am a cisgender woman and so is Psydere, so that's not an element to consider there. But I do wonder if that would like change if it was like congruent versus non-congruent with your gender identity, whether you express it or not. I don't know. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Oh, there's also another link showing that even if you're a man or a woman IRL, playing as a man, woman, or a man in MMORPGs, meaning you'd act typically man or woman. That is interesting. That is very interesting. So almost like we conform to the gender role that we're assigned in the MMO, even if that's not how we identify. That's super interesting. Oh, but it was barely statistically significant? Okay. I can see that potentially being a marginal thing, yeah. I wouldn't imagine it to be a super big effect size. Because it's like, it kind of reminds me of priming. That's the thing. It kind of reminds me of priming, which is not... Like, the cognitive psychology priming is fairly robust. The social psychology priming is not so much. So, yeah, that'd be interesting to look into. Psydere is not me, Psydere 2024. Who is that? Psydere? Never heard of her. Who is that? Some of the VR stuff with the avatar or IRL body connection was explored with my spinal injury recuperation. Ooh, that is interesting. That is interesting. If you want to share, you're welcome to. If you don't want to, that's also fine. But yeah, I feel like I'd be one of those people that would just like, it would just, like, I'm already doing it with the VTuber. I'm not gonna lie. It's quite, I'm very bad at separating like who I am and how I act, if that makes sense, even if it's meant to be like an act. So yeah, I think I would, yeah. I think I'd just fully embrace the role. Basically, I'm saying is if I was in Sword Art Online, I would just embrace whatever role I was given in Sword Art Online. Yeah. Literally in the middle of PT. Okay. We'll later if reminded. Thank you. You can do it in the Discord server, to be fair, because then it's yeah. It's a bit more closed off. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. I do feel like if I was in Sword Art Online, I'd just give up. In the sense of like, I'd just go and find a job and then just live my life, and I'd probably forget that I was even in the game. So yeah. Combat psychologist raising morale to keep their mental in the right place. I'm not gonna lie, I would probably use it as my excuse to finally open that coffee shop that I always was like, I'm just gonna drop out my PhD and open a coffee shop. I'd finally do it. I'd be like, well, I've got the chance now, so yeah. Or like, actually, to be honest, knowing me, I'd probably sit there and observe people in the game, and then I'd be like coming up with research and then doing research in the game, and then I'd come out and be like, well, it was all unethical anyway, so what were you expecting me to do? There was no IRB in Sword Art Online. Oh dear. Look, if that game made it through the IRB, if the research leading to that game made it through the IRB, there's no reason why I couldn't research it while I'm stuck in it, you know? Just saying. Okay. Yes, I think it's time to wrap up. Can you guide the raid today? You certainly can. You certainly can. I don't think anyone's used it in a while. It should be available. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. You are welcome to present a place to go and raid. A person. Yes, a person. You are welcome to present a person. Oh! You both have the same suggestion. Look at that. Great minds think alike. I like that. I like that. What are they doing? Let's see. Let's find out. VTOL VR. Okay. Interesting. Hi Zerkia, how you doing? How you doing? We're actually just wrapping up. We're just wrapping up. I'm sorry. We're just wrapping up the stream. How did your stream go? I hope it went okay. Were you playing Lies of P again? I finally managed to catch a little bit of your stream the other day, and I was like, oh, that's what you meant by Mickey Mouse Dark Souls. I understand now. I understand now. Let's see. There you go. There's the raid message. You finished it. Nice. Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I think I was watching you when you were fighting the what's the word? There was like a lightning. Was it lightning? Like some kind of lightning based boss? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think it was a lightning based boss. The lightning, yeah, that one. I was watching with that one. I was lurking in the background while I was working. Because so my approach to watching other streamers at the minute is literally just I lurk. Because normally I'm also working. And, you know, I can't get into conversations. You got so mad. You did. And it was quite entertaining. Genuine rage. Valid. Valid. When are you going to do hand cam stream? Mini painting? Not anytime soon. I don't have a way to set up a hand cam right now. It would be fun to do something like that though. Okay, before we go, we're going to do the mindfulness thing. Very, very quickly. Okay. This is something that you can do after the stream. So today's mindfulness task is, it's a ritual. Oh, it was to Zerkia. Oh, my bad. Yeah, when are you doing the mini painting hand cam thing, Zerkia? When are you doing it? Okay, today's mindfulness task is a ritual task. Choose a new recipe and cook a meal from scratch while listening to a podcast, audiobook, or your favorite album. So choose a new recipe and cook a meal from scratch while listening to a podcast, audiobook, or your favorite album. So that's something that you wouldn't really be able to do while you're watching the stream anyway. So that's good. So yeah, go and do that as your mindfulness task for today, or maybe tomorrow if it is late where you are, because it is late where I am and I'm immediately going to bed. Okay, so we're gonna go and raid a Lillian. Very cool. Let's go. Let's go. You made dinner, so that works. That does count. That does count. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for joining. Let me start the raid, actually. There's the raid message again. Yes, next stream. When is it? Tomorrow? What day is it today? Tomorrow? Question mark. I think it's meant to be tomorrow. And I think it's a co-working stream. And then on Sunday, I'm doing on Sunday it's my 1 year streaming anniversary. I've survived. I've survived a year. I've survived a year. So I have a bunch of things planned. I think it will be maybe a bit longer than the normal streams. I'm not promising anything, but it might be a bit longer than the normal 2.5 to 3 hours that I do. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It depends on how well my voice holds up and how tired I feel, because if I start getting too tired, then it stops being fun for everybody. But yeah, that's the plan. So maybe, yes, maybe see you tomorrow, question mark, for maybe some co-working. I can't remember. And yeah, I will see you then, potentially, question mark. I am not sure. Thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed learning some stuff about VR. Happy Sword Art Online Clear Day. See you next time. Bye.